I remember used to buy those big cookies. You can get them at the bookstore. Big cookies. And I'd say, okay, I'll eat a quarter of it or I'll eat half of it now, and then I'll save the rest for later. 9 times out of 10, I ate the whole cookie right then and there. And I'm sure all of us have stories like that. That's because carbs don't tell us when we're full. They want us to keep eating more. Hello, friends. It's the Carnivore Rabbi, here as always to meet, pray, and love together in the studio. Some artwork slowly coming up on the walls. Lighting is better, and I am just thrilled and honored to be speaking with you, learning with you. The comments I've been getting have just been tremendous, so thank you. I started Carnivore a few years ago, and it utterly changed my life for the better, optimizing my energy, my mood, and it is a dream and such a joy to be able to share this message and to bring it out into the world, a world that is deeply in need of healing and hope. And that's what we do here. And I wanted to talk today about the question, how do you know if you're hungry or bored? Because one of the great things about carnivore is you feel more satiated. Our satiety signals get restored. And once you've been carnivore for a while, you have to ask yourself this question. And I bet that you've asked it yourself. And how do you really know? And just asking the question is actually half the battle. Most people, when they feel a grumble in their stomach, anytime they feel they're hungry and they eat something. I remember when there was some sort of teaching, you need to eat some sort of snack every 3 hours to restore your blood sugar level. That's 95% of the population. And this is so easy to do because we are surrounded by advertisements for food. And we are fed addictive food so that we think we're hungry. Billions of dollars are spent to get the right chemicals and the right amount of salt in every little snack so that we want to keep snapping. Remember, you can't eat just one. So we are pushed to feel that we're hungry. But in reality, we may just be bored. Unless you work a truly manual labor job, assembling something, delivering packages, something that's constantly physical, unless you are doing one of those truly physical jobs, your work probably involves some downtime. You have to think about the right email response. If you're going through email, you can't sit and focus on something forever. Sometimes you have to wait for a meeting to start. Or you're watching a YouTube and your mind wanders. Hopefully not during this one. But we all get bored and distracted at work, with family, and our attention spans today are just so much shorter than they ever have been. What's the way we typically address our boredom? Probably the most common is we'll stare at our phones. Maybe we watch a video or check Instagram or Facebook or email, or we just go grab a snack. It's so convenient, isn't it? But here's the thing. If you're going to grab a snack and you're just starting carnivore, that's great. You should have lots of carnivore snacks, clean beef jerky, carnivore crisps, some carnivore bars. That's great. In fact, at this point, if you're an early carnivore, it doesn't really matter whether you're hungry or you're bored. The point is to get away from carbs. Snack all you can on carnivore crisps or clean beef jerky. If you're an early carnivore, if you're just starting, first couple months, these kinds of snacks will reshape and reframe your satiety signals. It will help break the addiction to carbs, and this takes time. But once you have restored your satiety signals, remember, our satiety signals have probably not been ideal since we were an infant, so they take time to be restored. But once you get a better grasp of them, then the question becomes more challenging. How do we know if we're hungry or bored? Because we can easily feel hungry, but not be hungry. That ghrelin is that chemical in our stomachs that makes us feel hungry. And we may be totally full, but the ghrelin, maybe we smell something good. So here's my best attempt at an answer. The first important part is to know yourself. Know how much food and energy you generally need. If you need about 3,000 calories a day, not that calories matter all that much, but they're a good proxy, and you've gotten that, and you still feel a need for a snack, maybe you're just bored. Also ask yourself what you're doing. If you're engaged in a project in the flow state, then you're probably not even going to feel hungry. And if you do feel hungry, then you probably are hungry. You're not going to get the bored signals when you are in the midst of doing something really meaningful. And by the way, that's also one of the side benefits of carnivore. We get interested in doing more projects because we have so much greater energy. So psychologically, we're going to be less bored when we are on the carnivore way of eating because we are using our minds, we are engaging with things. For me, making YouTube videos, coming up with ideas, I don't do a ton of editing, but coming up with these ideas and writing things down and playing around with different ideas, talking with different people, way less bored than if before I was carnivore. And by the way, if you are carnivore and you're enjoying this learning, please subscribe. The more support, the more reinforcement we get, the better. Second way to address this is to maximize our meal time. I have found that when I eat slightly more than I'm comfortable with at a meal, I rarely snack. And I think this is consistent with our evolutionary practice. Snacking was not really possible up until refrigeration in the 20th century. People ate full meals, a lot of fat, a lot of protein, a lot of meat, and they had no need to snack. There were no vending machines. And today you need to be full. You need to be full so that you're not even tempted to do that because it's easy to. So eat a little bit more than you're comfortable at meals, especially at the beginning. And I probably don't even need to say this, but one other part of avoiding snacking is to stay consistently carnivore. The truth is the carnivore diet reduces our need for snacking. If you think about the 80-20 rule, just following a carnivore way of eating solves 80% of the problem with snacking because you are satiated and you know that. There are times when you don't. Could be stressed, could be just truly bored, but 80% of the time, your body's going to be telling you the truth because you're on the proper human diet. You have properly operating satiety signals. Carbs destroys. This may be one of the worst impacts of carbs. It destroys our satiety signals. You can always eat more. How many times I remember used to buy those big cookies. You can get them at the bookstore. Big cookies. And I'd say, okay, I'll eat a quarter of it or I'll eat half of it now and then I'll save the rest for later. 9 times out of 10, I ate the whole cookie right then and there. And I'm sure all of us have stories like that. That's because carbs don't tell us when we're full. They want us to keep eating more. It's like the carbs are the chemicals that are in these cookies and the addictive qualities of wheat and sugar just keep us coming back even when we don't need it. And the more we eat them, the greater our tolerance, so the more we can eat. That's the problem with carbs. With meat, it's not okay. When I was first starting carnivore, I could eat 1 ribeye at a time. Now I can eat 3. That's not how it works. We have a certain amount of food that we need every day, and ribeyes can fill it, meat can fill it, and you can't get addicted to ribeyes. A fourth technique, and this is what I often do, is use snacks strategically so that you pre-plan your snacks. I'm at a point in my carnivore journey where I often have OMAD. I have 1 meal a day, maybe around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Sometimes, depending on my schedule, I might have it earlier or a little later. But I will also plan to have a little snack at night, to have a bag of carnivore crisps. Now, people who are really into intermittent fasting might say, oh, that's a terrible idea. You're breaking your fast. I say, so what? To me, the point is not, this is how long, I'm not trying to lose weight. If you want to lose weight, that might not be the best technique. My point is to eat what I need to eat and eat it conveniently and to eat it in a way where I'm not thinking all that much about food. So if I were to, there are times when I just do OMAD and don't have a snack at all, and that's fine. But there are times when I do feel hungry. I work out a lot, active. I plan to have a little snack at night. I definitely am not hungry enough for a full meal, but I know that I am a little bit hungry. So a small snack like carnivore crisps makes sense. Underlying all of this is a kind of goal, and I guess it's very hard to reach this, and perhaps we reach it to varying degrees, but it'd be nice to never really even think about food, right? You want to think about it as much as you have to think about it. To eat when you're hungry and then to be able to focus on whatever you're doing when you're not. And I think the longer we are carnivore, the more we fall into that pattern. Yes, there are ups and downs. There are times when maybe we make a mistake, or times when we're particularly tired, or we can't have our meals at the optimal times that we want to have them because of various commitments. That flow can be broken. But over time, we find a flow where we're really not thinking about food and we're not thinking about snack. And if we do get hungry, we know we truly are hungry. That's the goal. But as you journey towards that goal, as each of us journeys towards that goal, let's know ourselves well. Know how much energy we truly need. Know how we're really feeling so that we can figure out whether we're bored or hungry.